Good morning, dear students. Today we continue with the discussion of our drama Nagamandala. I am sure that you have gone through the PDF. You have an idea of the story too. But we will discuss in detail, and I told you in the last class that the play has a prologue and two acts. The prologue we have explained in detail in the last class, and I also have just started with Act 1. I have mentioned the characters in Act 1. But today I will concentrate on Act 1 and if possible Act 2 also. And always remember that Karnad is placing a mirror to the Indian society. Or to be more precise, the late 19th century or the early 20th century India is presented in the play. And also remember that when you study the story of Rani and Aparna, remember that the play has a patriarchal setup. Ours is a male-dominated society. And again, we know that Indians by nature are very superstitious. And Indians believe in the existence of ghosts, fairies, witches, and so on. And so the superstitious nature of the Indian society is revealed in the play. And again, the folklore structure, then the mythical structure of the play. I have mentioned to you in the introductory class on these aspects. And so when we continue with the play, you should have in mind this typical Indian society. And I told you yesterday that Act 1 begins with the story of Rani. I told you that story is personified. Story is presented as a woman, and she is narrating the story of Rani and Aparna. And you should note that Aparna and Rani, they are not an isolated couple in the Indian society. Actually, they stand as an example for a mismatched husband and wife in the Indian society. And again, the attitude of the society towards women, that also is very much revealed here. And in our patriarchal setup, husband is always counted as of a superior stuff. He is the one, he is the master who gives orders, and the wife is like a slave, obeying all these orders silently, without any complaint. She is tortured, humiliated, but she has no complaints at all. And so in Act 1, we get the narration. The story is narrated. That is, it's the story of a beautiful young girl by name Rani. And she is described as a very pretty girl having long dark hair. In the story, it is said that her dark hair is like a dark waterfall. And so she was a girl with such a long hair, so beautiful and attractive. And she is the only daughter of her parents. And the parents of Rani, when they got this proposal from Aparna, They did not care to inquire about the man like a typical Indian parent from a rural background. He just inquires, he just understood that Appanna is rich and he is happy. The father tells the mother, our daughter is very lucky because the husband, Appanna, he is very rich. And both his parents are dead, and so no problems from his side at all. And so our daughter will be very happy. And so the innocent parents take things for granted. And they arranges the marriage between Rani and Appanna. And even the title even the name Rani is carefully chosen, because Rani, in her house she was a Rani, she was a princess, but in her husband's house she is like a slave. And so the marriage is over, Rani is taken to Appanna's house. And Appanna's house was in a lonely corner, actually near a forest. So lonely it was. And as soon as they entered the house, Appanna and Rani, Appanna very seriously told Rani, I am going out. Don't expect me this night. Tomorrow noontime I will come back. And my food should be ready. House should be neat and clean. Everything should be neatly arranged. Don't ask me any questions. I will not. See, you needn't have to inquire anything. You should not ask me anything. I will tell you what you should do. And you have no right to question me also. Poor Rani was silent. She was afraid of her husband. And Appanna goes out. Actually, he is going to the house of his mistress, Kankabai. For years, he was having a secret, not a very secret relationship, because everybody in the village knows about the relationship between Appanna and Kankabai. But they are not ready to question him. And both the parents of Appanna, they are dead. And so there is nobody to question Appanna. Even the society doesn't blame Appanna because of the patriarchal setup, the feeling that husband can do anything. And so before going away, Appanna locks the house. The front door is locked and he goes out, and Rani was afraid. She was in a new place, a lonely place all alone, and she is just 18. And the night came. She was very much afraid. She cannot sleep at all. She was afraid of the strange sounds and everything coming from outside. And she was crying and crying. And then the next day, morning, Appanna came. And then Rani tried to explain to Appanna that she is afraid to be alone in the house. But Appanna is not ready even to look at her face. And so Rani actually prepares lunch for Appanna. Appanna eats the food. And then he doesn't say anything, not even a kind word or a kind gesture. Again, he went out locking the door. And from that day onwards, every day the history was repeated. The same thing was repeated again and again. That is, every day Appanna will be going out. He will not come back in the night. And the next day for noontime, he will come for food and then he will go out. And so slowly Rani gets adjusted with the situation. And again, the irony is that Rani is the only daughter of her parents. But after the marriage, the parents never comes to see their only daughter. That is, the Indian parents, they have a feeling that once the marriage is over, the girl will be taken care of her husband, and that the parents, their responsibility is over. And such an attitude of the Indian people, it's also revealed here. And so poor Rani continued in the house all alone. She couldn't even go out of the house. And the same routine was repeated day by day. And one day, a mother and a son comes to see Rani. Actually, they come at night. And that is Kurudava and her son Kapana. In the last class, I have already mentioned these two characters. Kurudava, as the name suggests, she is a blind woman. And her son Kapana. Kapana in Kannada means dark-skinned. But Kapana is not dark. He was fair-complexioned. But his mother is blind, and so everything around her is black. And so she called her Kapana. And this Kurudava was a friend of Appanna's mother, who died long back. And so Kurudava, even though she couldn't see anything, she wanted to talk to Rani, because she is the daughter-in-law of her friend. And so Kurudava comes to Rani's house. And Kapana told his mother, that the door of the house is locked. That means there is nobody in the house. And Kurudava was a bit disappointed, but they decided to go away. You can see Kapana as a very loving son. He usually carries his mother over his shoulders because mother is blind and weak. However, they are preparing to go back. Then Rani heard the sound of the talk between the mother and the son. And then she calls out, "Who is there?" Because after coming to this house, she hadn't seen a human being at all. And so she calls aloud, "Who is there? Who is talking there? Please come out." And hearing the sound, Kurudava and Kapana comes back near to the window. And then Kurudava asks Rani, "Why your door is locked? What happened? And are you alone in this house?" There, Rani told Kurudava her pathetic story, that her husband locks her in the house every day and goes out, and there is no human being to talk to her, and she is afraid to live in such a lonely place. And then Kurudava is very sad about the miserable plight of Rani. And so Kurudava told Rani, "See, you needn't worry about it at all. I will help you. You are the daughter-in-law of my best friend. I will help you." And then you will hear another story of Kurudava. These are all the Indian superstitious beliefs. I told you, Indians believe, even the educated Indians believe in the existence of witches, fairies, etc. Magic. We all believe that magic will happen in our lives.